All right, let's begin our weekly watch list for this week. We'll start off with taking a look at the indices. We'll look at Qs right now. That's what's on the chart right here. Last week we talked about breaking the 20-day moving average for the first time in quite some time. Was hoping for a little bit of a pullback. We've been stretched for many weeks, months at this point since the COVID lows, and we did the total opposite. We ripped. And that was thanks in part to Fang. Fang finally woke up. You had Facebook waking up from the 200-day, which we showed. You had Amazon, not as much, but a bigger move than some of the other names. Google had a nice consolidation, broke out from there. Microsoft, same situation there. And then Netflix, which had an earnings gap that sort of led the way, basically. So right now we're pretty extended from the 20-day. We're starting to just go parabolic here. So I wonder if we continue a bit of this parabolic move. We've been seeing crazy 20, 30, 100% moves, GameStop being the perfect example. I wonder if we go a little bit more parabolic and get some craziness and then start consolidating or pulling back a little bit. But everything looks good for a continuation for the uptrend. A little bit of a different synopsis from last week where we thought we were going to pull back, but that's what the market does. SPY, same situation here, just continuing to follow the uptrend here. Not much to say. Probably didn't have as big of a move as the Qs, since Qs are a little bit more heavily weighted towards the FANG names. Not that SPY isn't, but a little bit more weight for the Qs. IWM, you get the big caps going, so sort of makes sense that IWM didn't do much this week. Look to actually see if maybe small caps can come back for next week, so we can get new highs in IWM. But not much to see here besides just an uptrend continuing. All right, on to our first name on the watch list. I'm going to skip trade recaps. Maybe I'll do a separate video for that, but we had some few names from last week and even the week before that took off. Hopefully you guys got a chance to follow those as well. All right, first name is JMIA. Broke out of this little mini range here, had a nice 25% up day. Watch for that to do a red to green move. Beautiful volume coming in. Recent IPO. It's been taking off. So watch for the 20-day moving average to start getting more of a positive slope, and a red to green move would be ideal for Monday, or even an inside day would be ideal after a 25% move. Just for a quick clarification, an inside day is when your next day's candle is within this bar, so it shows a little bit of indecision in terms of who's winning, whether it be the bulls or bears. But when you have something like this, it's really more of a digestion day to say, okay, well, let's just consolidate price. And then even there are some people taking profit in that time period. The other option is the red to green move. So, nothing goes up straight. So you'll see potentially Monday morning that'll start off red. It might even dip about 25% of this candle, 25% of the candle, not the move. So maybe somewhere around here, consolidate, and then you'll see it go green. Oftentimes for a strong stock, it can do that red to green move in the first 3, 4, 5 minutes. So something to keep an eye out for here. You played this a little bit earlier during its IPO days, or the first few IPO days, but now it's sort of consolidated, came back to the 50-day, took out the 20-day on Friday, and took out this anchored VWAP. If it can take this high out, I'll go long here, and we can probably see new highs in NIO, the winner of 2020, has been consolidating a little bit after making some new highs and got over this anchored VWAP. I actually got long off of this pivot almost in the early morning on Friday. Didn't have a high volume, but I think that's okay because I think this 50-day average is a little skewed on some of this higher volume here. So Watch for a continuation here. If you haven't entered this one, maybe you can see an inside day and then create a position there. Just remember to understand your risk. For me, I'll have to adjust my stop loss to be below this candle here. So the low of this candle is 58.32, so around this area right here. I'll probably put in the 57.80 range as a stop loss. Next one, SE, electronic gaming has been on fire. Similar names would be EA and Zynga. CRSR, another name. That one had a high volume that might also take off. So SE just in this top of the range here, looking to make some new highs. Really not much to say here besides an uptrend. If it can take out these higher levels right here around 237, then maybe we can get another big move of 5, 6, 10%. So keep an eye out for SE. RXT, a recent IPO, it's basically been consolidating. Actually, made a little bit of a high and has just been in that range since then. We didn't really take out these lows and we haven't taken out these highs, so range bound. We're finally seeing price respect the VWAP, the anchored VWAP on the IPO date, and we're consolidating a little bit, holding the 50-day now. So watch for this downtrend line to take out, and you could probably enter on a close above the 20-day moving average with some volume. So watch for RXT. DKNG, it's already covered this one in a previous video, but it's just consolidating. This one's going to have a move in one way, in one direction or another. I'm leaning a little bit bullish here, so watch for, what is this, 54.70 level to be taken out. We've pretty much been holding this low anchored VWAP and the 20-day moving average, so that's a pretty good sign there. DOCU, another one that was on our watch list, made a nice breakout and has been consolidating perfectly. Watch for a pivot to be made or for these highs to be taken out. So the highs would be around 263. A similar name that I'm in right now, TDOC, that's what you're looking at here, right here. These few days of consolidation is what you're seeing in DOCU. So I'm in this nice little move it's been made so far. It did take half off, I think, on Friday. So I'll look to add to this position, but watch for DOCU to do something similar here. XP, I think we had covered this one as well last week. Had a low here, did make a lower low, respected the anchored VWAP here, and then pretty much probably made a little bit of a higher high compared to this low here. Took out the anchored VWAP from these highs here, and now we're just consolidating. So watch for the anchored VWAP here. If we can close above this one can run for a little bit. ACI, grocery store, Albertsons, recent IPO, consolidated, broke out, held the anchor VWAP here, has been taken off, now consolidating, tightening. Watch for the, let's see, what is this, 1760 level to be taken out. So that's ACI. ARRY Technologies, another recent IPO. I put out a bunch of bids, but nothing got filled on Friday, so it showed that there was demand at higher price levels. It does trade a little bit wonky. It doesn't really trade like a $1.3 million stock. It trades a little bit like a 500K daily traded volume stock, so expect a little bit of volatility. So I would keep your risk here pretty low, so maybe position size with a smaller position. But recent IPO, it did take out the highs here, but then came right back down, respected the 20-day moving average, and is now hoping to take these highs out. So I'll be watching to see if this anchored VWAP holds, and I'll create a position based on Monday's trading day. EA, we just talked about electronics and gaming. At the top of its range here, a few small candles. Let's see if we can break out of this little range that we have here. If so, we can get some pretty big moves, because this would be a new high. Oh, I take that back. 147. So yeah, there's a little bit of traded volume previously, but we can probably eke through that if some volume comes in. Workday, zooming out, nice bit of downtrend or inverse head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. A low here, a low here, higher low, higher low, higher lows being made. Oops. And now we're consolidating after some of these weird gaps. Not sure what they were, but some of them probably earnings related. Sideways move in, did break out, came back, couldn't really hold this level, held the bottom of the range, and is now peaking back up. So watch for this one to continue its uptrend here. FSLY finally starting to get into this region where there's not as much volume traded. So if you can get demand in here, you can start ripping through these price levels really quick. So we got 1 day of consolidation on Friday. Let's see maybe if we can get another one. That would set this one up beautifully. But even if you don't, you do have a little bit of a trading range between the high and the low of this candle that you can trade based off of. So watch for FSLY for a trend continuation after making a pretty significant move from the COVID lows. DDOG, same situation here. Recent IPO has made a pretty big uptrend, has consolidated, and basically we've been making higher lows here. Now we're starting to tighten up. The 20-day is declining, but that's okay. We're holding price over here. We did reject on this day on Friday of these levels, so I feel like this may need a few more candles before I can start taking off to new highs. PTON, not much to say here besides it's trying to make new highs, and if it does, it's just going to continue its uptrend, so keep an eye out for that one. Cloudflare, same situation. Looks more like JMIA. A little bit of move up, made new highs, consolidated, respected the 50-day, is now going straight back to that level. Oops. That level where price was getting rejected. So maybe we can see a little bit of pullback to the 20-day. If we do and we hold, you'll see me go long here on Cloudflare. For solar, as you guys know, solar's just been an absolute beast. But for solar here, respected the 50-day, made a new high, pretty much respected the 20-day, tried to make a new high but couldn't, respected the 20-day again, and now we're sort of tightening up. So see if we can break through the 107, 108 level here for a trend continuation upwards. Spotify, almost the same situation, nice little consolidation, did make a new high here, but subsequently came back, respected the 20-day, and now we're trying to make some new highs. Here's what an inside day candle looks like. You see how it's within that range. So now you have a trading range. You can use Friday's candle and put in an order for Spotify at the high of 348.28. So you can enter off of 348.28, and you can put your stop loss at the low of 338. Maybe you can go a little bit lower if you want to. So that's a potential trade setup there in Spotify. Team, nice uptrend here and then pulled back to the 50-day. Sort of came out of this little wedge that you see here. Is now trying to continue its uptrend. A lot of times you'll see this reject at these price levels, which it is pretty much doing at the levels where volume is. Previous volume existed, so maybe we have to wait for the 238 to clear before this can start continuing on with its uptrend. OCFT, I think I may have had this in my first video, but yeah, I think we may have been talking about it up in here where it got over the anchored VWAP, but subsequently rejected. Take a look at what's happening here the past few days. Increase in volume, and we're holding these levels. It never really did that anywhere else. It never held this VWAP. It never held the 20-day. It never held the 50-day. So this is really tightening up. Unfortunately, this is definitely going to be like a JMIA where if you're not in the morning, it'll take off and be 20% higher within the hour or two for the morning. So make sure you set your alerts for this one for a breakout of 2260-ish. Next one, Lemonade. Was in this one on this breakout. Unfortunately, part of my problem is always taking profits too early, so I did get out of this one a little bit too early. But now setting up, pulling back to the 20-day. It does have this anchored VWAP up here that shows a little bit of resistance. I think I might be comfortable as long as I have my 9 EMA. I can show you the 9 EMA real quick. So we did get over the 9 EMA. If we can stay above it, I can see a long, at least into this pivot. It's a 15% move. So you can take this one as more of a shorter term trade and not for a couple sessions. All right, last one here, our vaccine play. Moderna has taken off. NVAX has basically been consolidating for the past few weeks. And similar to OCFT, now we're starting to respect this a little bit. If we go down to the 65-minute, we're starting to hold some of these levels. I guess I don't have my, let's go back to daily and switch to the 65-minute. So we're starting to create some higher lows here. And that's a pretty good sign that we're starting to consolidate and we could potentially take out the levels that Novavax has been rejected for quite some time here. We're looking at maybe the, oh, I think this thing's still, oh, that's OCFT. There you go, that looks much better. There's the, okay, so here we go. So we got the anchored VWAP and we got the 20-day moving average and we're respecting that. So watch for this level, the, what do we got here, 133 level. Watch for that to be taken out, or it's a little bit of declining 20-day moving average on the 65-minute, or sorry, not daily, on the 65-minute chart. You have a 20 period moving average here. If it can hold for a few candles, you can go long against the low here, 122. So pretty good risk, a $5 risk, maybe even a $7, $8 risk, and you can position size accordingly. So that's what I had for this week. Lots of names that are on fire. We can take a look at GameStop. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Didn't miss all this, but there's other names that are doing maybe not a 280% move, but a pretty big move. Lou was one of them. JMIA was one of them. NIO was one of them. So just gotta set your alerts, take a look at it, pre-market, and hopefully there's not other things distracting you if you're working or whatnot. Hopefully you can pay attention for a little bit, enter, and good luck.